What is going on, all you lovely ladies and gentlemen? This is a lovely penguin. My name is Mike O'Hora, and we are continuing our video on the Stray Kids Maniac music video that we just watched, as well as the making of video. We're going to be talking about the set dressing here as well, but before we get into that, I just wanted to talk about the song and how great of a message it really was. So they're talking about how all of us have our little quirky things in our lives and how we all have these different personas that we have to put on for different areas of our life. And this song is just kind of saying it's like, hey, it's okay to be yourself, to enjoy the things that you enjoy. And honestly, watching through the making of video, I think that they actually demonstrate it even better in the making of video because they are incredibly goofy during that video. They're doing interviews with each other, they're joking around, they're teasing each other, they're spanking each other's butts and whatnot, and doing all sorts of goofy things, you know what I'm saying? And they're getting to see a little bit of what the true them is like, I would imagine. You know, so I thought that was a really, really cool, different aspect of their video as well as the making of video. And I think it's a great message because honestly, weirder people are more fun people. And when you're being true to yourself and true to the things that you enjoy, you're gonna have a better time in life. And then honestly too, for the most part, people probably like you a little bit better because you're being authentic, you're being real, you're being the real version of you. And when you pretend to like stuff and you pretend to be a person that you're not, more often than not, people can kind of see it. They might not know exactly why, but they can see that you're not being real, and people don't like that. So I would encourage you guys as well. Be a maniac, I guess. I don't know if that's quite the best way of using it, but either way, I think is really cool. So I'm gonna pull some clips from the making of the video thing. I'm not actually gonna use clips. I'm just gonna use still frames from it, just so you can kind of see. So they look a little bit goofy because they're mid dancing right now, but this is what I'm looking at right here. So this shot, they actually are out here on the roof, on the rooftop. You can see that they have the camera here. It's on a crane, which is pretty awesome. So for the most part, there really isn't much set dressing to be done here. For the most part, what I would imagine department would be doing is that if there was any sort of debris or anything that was on that roof that they didn't want on there, they would go up there and they would just clean it off. You know what I'm saying? Pretty simple. And then they do the CGI work or the special effects work, whatever you want to call it, the video editing, in order to make it look like there was that upside down city kind of hanging up above them, because this video has a really cool aesthetic of kind of flipping things on their head, if you would, of what's the norms and what's not the norms, you know? So I think that was a really cool aspect of the video as well. Now, this actually surprised me. This part genuinely surprised me. So more or less what's going on here is obviously they have this huge studio space, which is really awesome. A lot of the bands that I've looked at so far, they have these really big studios. So I'm imagining over in Korea they have a couple of these around there. A lot of the times in LA, like, you don't really get to see as many huge big studios like this. They'd be about like half the size, if anything. So it's pretty cool to see that they have these huge stages. But for this one, what they have going on here is obviously they have all the rigs for the harness of the people going up into the air. That's not in my department. I wouldn't play with that at all. I wouldn't want to touch it. But this big lit up blob thing that they have going on, I think, if I remember correctly, it's actually the brain that you see in the music video. All it is a huge big thing of fabric, right? And if you remember correct, from if you had a childhood like mine, you might remember having those big tarp looking things that are like all rainbow colored and circus colored or whatever, and then you'd go up with it and then you bring it down, and then like a lot of times you'd be doing this in like elementary school, and you would go underneath it and then everybody would sit on the edge of it and it would make this huge air dome that you guys would all get to hang out inside of, and it was really cool. So more or less, I imagine this is pretty much a very similar kind of a setup, if you would. It's just with a white cloth instead. Probably like a nylon type cloth or fabric or whatever you want to call it, that you would then probably put a couple of little fans in the back to keep air coming into it, to keep it inflated and keep it full looking as well. And then after that, it just takes the CGI group just a little bit to kind of grab little bits and be able to kind of cover it and mask it to make it look like it does in the music video. I thought the music video was really cool. They made it really look like it was kind of like a video game at points, and like really kind of aesthetically pleasing as well. So we're actually going to look at the music video as well. But first, I figure we'll jump through the music video because it's still kind of fresh in our mind. Obviously, with shots like this, they're in the same studio. You can actually tell from the floor piece here, that big white blob thing was actually just back behind this green screen. But yeah, simple enough is you just set up a green screen and then you can really put anything behind them, you know? So that's kind of the easier part of making a video sometimes. And for the most part, I thought the CGI work was pretty good in this. There's only like a couple of things that I was like, I don't really like that all that much. Right here, what you're actually seeing is you're actually seeing a monitor, right? Now, these are just little screens that they set up so that the directors and the producers can see what's actually happening on camera. And then it also is a great tool for us in the art department because we can run over to see what the monitor looks like to see how the set looks on camera as well, to make sure that it looks right. Most likely what I would imagine happened here, sorry, the frame's a little blurry. Let's see if we can get a better still here. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Most likely what you're seeing here is a train car that was bought by a studio that they're using as well. Probably been used for multiple different videos and whatnot as well. But as simple as it is in terms of art department stuff, is they just spray paint a little bit. They put on different graphics. Sometimes in order to not completely destroy those props, I guess you could call it, or sets. Sorry, the train set. They would make these stickers that look like spray paint, and then you can just kind of peel them and place them wherever you'd like to on the train so that it would look like it's spray painted, but it's not actually spray painted. So they're not fully destroying this train car. So either they're renting it and it's part of a studio's props that they use, or sets, excuse me, that they use is the actual train car itself, or they literally went out of their way to buy a train car and destroy it by spray painting it and stuff, which I highly doubt that they did. I said before, I really like when they do these kind of interviews with the talent where you get to kind of see the backgrounds a little bit. And if I'm guessing correctly, you can see that there's these two monitors here, and there's probably another monitor here and another monitor here behind him. That this is probably what we call Video Village, where they actually have all the camera stuff shot out onto these monitors, where a lot of the more bigger producers and stuff will sit and be able to watch what's going on. They'll have walkies where they can kind of comment and tell the second AD, the assistant, or sorry, the first AD, the assistant director, if they like what's going on. A lot of the time, the director will actually also be in Video Village as well, giving out their thoughts and ideas via walkie as well. So that's just a little, I think that's what we're looking at over there. I could be wrong, but it still is kind of cool. I do like this set that we're going to be looking at right here. This hallway feature. Let's see if we can get a, yeah, this is a great shot of it. This hallway is such an awesome little set. I think that they're on a studio again. I don't know for sure at this point if they are or not, but for the most part, it looks like they took what we call flats, which are basically just flat walls. You'd stand them up with a jack, which is just as simple as like two pieces of wood coming across, making an L shape with another piece of wood going up in between. And if it's a taller one, there'll be a second one going up even further in order to support the back. And you screw those onto those jacks, and then you put sandbags on the jacks so the walls don't fall down. And it looks like they just kind of made like a nice big hallway. There's a car at the very end, which means that they probably rented a car. And then all these little pieces in the background here, even the floodlights and stuff, the barrels, the fencing, the signs, all that stuff is props. It's what they brought. It becomes set dressing here on the set, and you just rent them from any different prop houses and stuff. There's prop houses for very specific items, like street items and such. So like a lot of those like guard barriers, and probably like the do not enter sign, the street light lamps probably came from the same place, as well as like there's a traffic cone you can see there as well. And then sometimes you get the signage from different prop houses and whatever. I don't know how it works over in Korea. I don't know if they have them as divided as they do here in LA, but there's a bunch of different prop houses you can go to in order to get different props. And yeah, they just kind of sit in the background. Sometimes you even just go out and buy stuff, right? I've been on sets where we've actually bought those flood lamps and I build them up, and then when we're done, we just kind of break them down, pack them up, and honestly, half the time you return them. Just because you only need them for like a day or two. And it's not the best practice, but it's what happens sometimes. But yeah, this is a really cool set. We're going to take a look at it again once we actually check out the music video. Now, this is where I really wanted to get to. This set looks so cool. So cool. For the most part, too, it's a lot easier to set up a set like this than you'd actually think, right? So for the most part, each one of those buildings, you only really see two sides of the building, right? So for if you were going to be behind those walls, they would just be two walls coming together, sorry, to make a joint, a 90-degree angle. And then there'd be jacks behind them with sandbags, and then you just decorate the front sides to make them look like they do. So on like that ordinary store, they put on that extra little bit that's red. They put the lights on there as well. They got a street light there that they put up, which also is probably rented as well. They got the plants also rented, all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. Then on the floors here as well, I wonder how they did the sidewalks. But I imagine they just made a couple of floors out of wood, and then you paint them to make them look right. And then the rest, I believe, is just raised staging, right? And then they probably put down a layer of flooring down, most likely wood as well. If I was going to be doing it, it's most likely how I would do it as well. And then you'd paint it. However, there is a very interesting part here if you're looking for it, which there's a great shot of it at one point. Let me see. Right here. Now look at this. They have the road caved off like a sinkhole happened or something along the lines of that. And the cool part is that most likely those are just foam pieces that they've taken, they've cut to shape, they've cut to fit the stage as well, and they're pretty seamlessly added in there. And then underneath it is more foam that they just kind of rip up in order to make it look like dirt. And then you're probably thinking like, well, how does it like look like that or whatever? You just spray paint it. As simple as that. You can kind of see how they spray painted the quote unquote dirt first. And so it's nice and brown and whatever, and then you can actually see in pretty specific spots. It might be hard to see in this video that you're watching right here, but like in certain areas, like right here, you can actually see where the black paint kind of overlapped onto the brown paint a little bit. But yeah, you just use a spray paint can, just it on, and it makes it look real. And it works really well with the styrofoam in order to make it look a little bit more like concrete or cement. Or asphalt, I guess, in the case of the black paint as well, which is a really cool little feature that honestly I think most people probably ignored. They didn't even see, but like when I first saw it, I was like, dang, that's a super cool thing. We were definitely talking about that as well. There we go. All right, look at that. Would you look at that? This is a lot harder of a build to do than making everything upside right. Not only do you have to mimic what the upside right looks like, but you also have to hang this thing completely upside down. So most likely what they did here, I would imagine, is the top where the street is. I imagine that whole entire thing is probably foam pieces that have been glued together and attached to join together to make it look like the street, and then paint it again to make it look correct. However, when it comes to those buildings, it looks to me like they actually hit the floor, which means that they would have the ability to make just the regular flat walls and then put the jacks behind them as well. and then they just take the same sort of imagery and stuff like that and just flip it upside down and put it there. In terms of like, there you can see that there's like this, the freestanding sign, there's the umbrella in the umbrella holder thing there. Staple it. You staple it to the wall, you staple it to the ceiling. You could even screw it in if you really want it secured. Same thing with that tree on the other edge over there. That tree is actually screwed to that square piece that it comes on, and then I'm sure with that they screwed up into the ceiling where they have some sort of supportive piece behind it in order to hold it up as well. But this is such a cool set design. Same deal as well. They also did like the broken away street where they made the edges and then the dirt underneath it. Really, really cool. I've only worked one time in a set that actually, it's one of those rotating rooms, if you would, where the whole thing can actually spin. So if you saw the movie Inception, I didn't work on that one in particular, but it was the same build where they literally build a room and then they have metal going around it and it's in this huge metal circle and it's on a motor and you can kind of spin the entire room around. So I do know how to make things stay when it goes upside down as well. So that's really how you do it, is you just stick it in with a nail gun or a staple gun or whatever. It really depends on how heavy the piece is that you're trying to hold there. But yeah, really cool. Also, that car in the background doesn't quite look real. So my thoughts is that they kind of built a wood piece to look like the form of a car, and then they probably put stickers on it so that they would hang and it would be relatively light compared to a full metal vehicle. Or it could actually be a car, possibly cut in half, and then probably put on like a forklift or something that would stick into the car and then just kind of raise it up and put it at the level that it needs to be in the background as well. And then another cool little aspect, I don't know if you guys are actually seeing it or not, but you can literally see here as well that they are very much on a stage right here. I'm gonna hide the subtitles real quick so you can actually kind of see, is they're very much on a stage. And actually during the music video, when they're dancing, I'm gonna play it real quick. I'm just gonna mute it. You can actually see the stage shakes a little bit when they move. You see how it kind of moves a little bit? That means it's just one of those little metal stages that you'd see at most things that need a stage. You know, it's honestly, it's a really cool setup. But yeah, let's take a look at what these actually look like when you look at them in a music video, which it comes out really awesome, right? So right at the beginning here, we got them up on the building. This is that rooftop that we were talking about at the very beginning, and then how they digitally add in the upside down city is really, really cool. Again, like I said, this hallway that you're looking down, it's all these different props, and then it might be a location where they actually rented out like the downstairs of a building so that they didn't actually have to put in all that pipe work and stuff, and then in that case you just kind of paint it and make it look the way you want it to look. Pretty simple setup, more or less, as well as getting the props to put it in there. Oh, we actually didn't talk about the diner. Looks like they're on location for this as well. Kind of got those little old schooly looking seats and stuff. These are all props. The ketchup bottles and mustard, the napkin holders, the napkins, and all that kind of stuff. It's all props, and even the stickers that are on the windows, those are all put on there by the art department. Pretty cool, but it makes for a really great little vibe in the music video. Plus they go for these dark but like light colors, which are really awesome. This is where you really get the video game feel for it as well, which is really, really cool. And it kind of helps cover up some of the set dressing as well, honestly. Yeah, the more I'm actually looking at this hallway, it looks like this is definitely another location shoot as well. They didn't actually put this up. I'm pretty sure those are real concrete walls, but they did put in the fencing stuff, the other props, the cones, the fence, the barrels, the signs, all that kind of stuff was added in as well. So this is what I was talking about when I was thinking of the big brain thing. The big white thing, but it looks like they actually did a couple of shots where it literally is just the white thing as well. But I'm pretty sure that blob is what they were using from that white piece before. Also, this transition So cool. It's another crane attachment where they can actually spin the camera, but still, it just looks so sick. Beautiful. Beautiful. Easy. Like I said, they dressed it beautifully for the most part. I don't really think I have anything else to say at this point. The music video kind of speaks for itself. Here is, again, this is the location they're shooting. It looks like they CGI'd some of the buildings in the background to be taller and whatnot, so that would kind of match the sky. But yeah, this music video, absolutely beautiful. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really well done. Again, really like the message of being yourself and not letting the world kind of bog you down and put you into a little mold. Really cool. So, guys, this is kind of the first time I've done this. So, if you liked it, please let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback. And if you haven't already, sub to the channel. And, guys, stay aggressively positive, stay yourself. And I love you guys and have a great week. Goodbye.